Yeah, man. Doing it again.
Yeah.
Tres mariachis.Cio got some new shit on her face.
I'm gonna talk about it. Shut the fuck up.
Okay.
I got some new shit on my face. I got the Mike Tyson tattoo around my eyebrow.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of CO and Rome.
This is Yo.
And this is Rome, and this is episode number 40.
40.
Yo, we're joined by Jonathan.
40 Club.
Yeah.
Damn.
We-
What's up?
We've reached the midlife crisis age.
Yeah,
Mhm.
definitely a midlife crisis. Before we jump into anything, excuse me. Before we jump into anything, just want to say big shout out to afgoclothing.com for hooking us up with the merch. Get your hoodies, get your t-shirts, get your sweatshirts at afgoclothing.com.
Yeah.
sir.
15% off with a code ZEOandRome15. Take a picture if you order something. Tag us in it. Let us see what it looks like.
Yeah, and also still the undisputed best podcast of 2018. If you would like to dispute that, feel free to shoot us an email at coandrome
Nobody's done it.
at gmail.com.
Undisputed, undefeated.
Yeah, how's everybody doing?
Everybody's great. Happy Daddy's Day to all my daddies out there.
Yes. Happy Father's Day to all the wonderful fathers out there.
And that's for fathers, stepfathers, and mommies all playing that role.
Yeah.
Happy Father's Day. Happy Daddy's Day. All that.
All of it.
So listen to this shit. We kind of had a discussion about this off air, but I'm going to just say it on here for the riders. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I've been on this app that's like Tinder, but for business to try to see who we could network with, when it comes to this podcast.
What's the name of it again?
I think it's called Shaper, SHAPR.
Okay.
So this lady, I swiped right on her, whatever, because she has experience in broadcasting, like with a variety of different platforms. So she swiped on us. She swiped right on us.
Right.
So then she hits me with a inbox saying, hey, we should have a chat over a phone call. I'm like, sure. So I sent her my number. So this lady calls me and she's like, okay, so you have a podcast. Tell me a little bit about the show, and I let her know a little bit about the show. So then she jumps into telling me how she has this TV station that also could do live streaming, and she starts discussing ideas like with the podcast, we could put it on a live stream and we can have all these ad spots and we can have this and then we could upload it to Facebook. And I'm like, okay, this is all sounding fucking great.
Right.
But because I understand the nature of our show in terms of explicit content, I just asked her straight up. I was like, with your existing business model, how does that work with explicit content? Because if you're talking live, like, I don't know how you would plan to bleep out the curses and all that stuff.
Right.
And she's like, oh, like explicit content, what do you mean? And I mean, like, curse
Cursing.
words, vulgar
Topics.
remarks, very adult conversation.
Mature audiences only.
Yeah. And she was just like, oh my gosh, the whole conversation flipped. And it got to the point where she was questioning, like, well, who the hell is your demographic anyway? And like, you're in a situation where you don't have like hardcore sponsors, and it's probably because of vulgarities. And I said, when she started asking me who our audience was, I was like, it doesn't really matter, because I think it's very clear that our show wouldn't be a good fit for your platform. We left it at that. But it really has me thinking, like, our show without profanity, without vulgarities, without, that whole explicit content vibe. Like, I don't really see this show going in that direction ever in terms of the podcast.
Yeah, me either. I feel like even with situations that are serious or of some sort of serious topic, anything like that, we still find a way to make it a funny situation or turn it in some way being vulgar. And I think that's because that's the type of conversations that we have amongst ourselves, amongst our friends. It's just the type of people that we are. We can be serious and intellects as well, but it wouldn't be this You and Rome show if that was the case.
The shit that just kind of annoyed me is like, one, it's like the demographic exists.
Mm-hmm,
You
for
know
sure.
what I'm saying? There's a
Most
lot of
definitely.
successful podcasts out there that are explicit. You know what I mean? That have the sponsors.
Yeah.
And it's like there's a lot of people that could relate to us in what we do. And there's a lot more people out there that I'm sure could relate to us that have no idea who the fuck we are. But it's getting there. You know what I mean? We're in our first year. But the shit that drives me nuts is like the Howard Stern show. How long has this been a successful
Oh,
satellite?
man.
And we're talking about almost 2 decades ago, which is everything was much more, reserved then.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
what makes you think? And that lady's obviously outdated.
She don't know what she's talking about. You take Sirius radio, satellite radio. That's where they can be uncensored, raw and uncut, and all that. And I think the audience wise, I think they appreciate that. I think since they are used to the censored version, nobody wants that. They want we're all adults here. We can all talk like as if we're best friends in the same room, and just be ourselves.
She started associating with the curse words and vulgarities to violence. And I'm like, whoa, they're not one and the same.
Not
She's
at
like,
all.
I'm trying to promote a world without violence. And I'm like, whoa, who said anything about violence?
Plus, I think
she
that-
sounds mad preachy.
Right. And I think that in this day and age, we're kind of like steering away from that type of stereotype where
Yeah.
cursing and tattoos and piercings and things like that are so like, taboo, or I don't think we live in that world anymore.
And
No.
I'm also realizing that there's going to be people who reach out to us just because it's us and like without even listening to a sample of our show.
Right.
Because if she would have listened to at least a snippet of at least episode 1
She would have
or
cracked
anything.
the fuck up.
No, but I'm saying she would have knew right offhand that it wasn't a good fit, and she wouldn't have asked for us to get on the call if
Right.
that were the case. So it's
True
a
to
waste
actually
of
Do your
time.
research.
Yeah. So even porn is monetized, so it's just like I don't think
Yeah.
that certain industries and explicit content should be shunned. And I just want to let y'all know that we're gonna try to keep it as true as possible to you guys, and I have no intentions of changing the direction we're going in terms of content.
Yeah.
Yo, shout out to the sponsors that are forward thinking and still sponsor the raw and uncut podcasts or shows or whatever. Like, y'all the real MVPs too.
Yeah.
That y'all realize it's a new world, that you don't have to just go cookie cutter as far as who you sponsor.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, speaking about embracing tattoos and vulgarities and piercings and things like that, CL, do you have something to share with the class?
Yeah,
today?
I opted out of the nipple piercings and I just went ahead and re-pierced my nose.
Wait,
Which is the thing I opted out of. Remember, like a lot of episodes ago, I
yes,
was like,
I know what opted out
okay.
means. And I
okay,
do
just making
remember.
sure you giving me.
unsubscribed.
Didn't she give me like the crazy look?
Because I don't think that you getting a nose piercing should mean that nipple piercing still can't happen.
Oh no! I'm saying like as of right now, it's been substituted for the nose piercing.
Okay.
Yeah, I just re-pierced it and it hurts like hell because
It's
of the
Really?
scar
It
tissue.
hurts?
Yeah, it hurts because there was so much scar tissue, and
Yeah.
I kind of have this like little bit bigger than what I want hoop in it right now, so that I can continue to like move it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I want to eventually go and get something smaller. But
It's so cute.
Thanks.
Your nose is like
red,
it's like a little swollen. So you have
it's
a
super
little-
swollen.
You have like a little button nose.
Yeah, it hurts, but it's all right.
That's
Pinocchio.
funny.
Yeah.
Yo, who pierced you?
My man, Oscar.
Oscar.
Yeah, shout out to Oscar.
Shout out to Oscar.
Y'all go check my boy out at Iron Blood Tattoos on Hillsboro.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was dope. He had me dying yesterday. I have a couple videos on my story. You guys can put a face to a name. Him and his little apprentice or whatever the heck you want to call her, Katie. Have you met her?
I've met her once.
This was the first time I meet her. Their relationship is hilarious to me.
Yeah, I
He's-
saw that you put the stories up.
He's constantly clowning her. She's
That's
constantly
funny.
like taking it, but like not.
She's very hipster.
She's
and
very
chill.
hipster, but then I mean it's Oscar.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's no problem, but she's this. She seemed to be so accepting of anything and everything that was going
for
on.
sure,
you
for
know?
sure.
So yeah, from what I saw, she was pretty cool.
It was a cool dynamic, and
I gotta watch it again though with the stories because I watched it without the audio. I knew it was some funny shit that
to
happened
listen to the
just by
audio.
looking at Oscar. I'm like, yo, some funny shit happened. But I didn't get to hear the audio.
You have to listen to the audio. Literally, she's telling just like a quick breakdown. You can hear the exact words that he says to her, but basically she's saying how she's never like the cute friend, and he's explaining to her why she's not the cute friend and how she should be thankful that she's not the cute friend. And just listen because it is fucking hilarious.
Okay, I watched it without audio too, so I gotta go back.
You have to. You have to. You may need to listen twice because they're speaking over each other, but it's really funny. It's really funny.
So look, last week we had a very long episode.
Oh yeah.
It was a zombie invasion.
Yeah.
So, I kept it really light with the notes today. I have a couple notes about music, one about TV or Netflix rather, and then I have one thing that I kind of want to talk about in terms of relationships. So, I'm not sure if you want to dive in.
Yeah, I want to, before we get into like the whole pop culture music thing, I just want to say one thing that I discovered as of last week to any parents out there. There's actually a school that just opened up. It's a charter school called SLAM. And for those of you who don't necessarily agree with the regular curriculum that normal public schools have, I think this may be something you guys can look into. I'm actually looking into it for Xavier. It's actually a school that not only promotes regular subjects like math, science, all that good stuff, but also furthering your education when it comes to specific fields like sports medicine, journalism, broadcasting, and it goes all the way up to 12th grade. And if your child decides to do the 4 years of high school in the same field, whether it's journalism, broadcasting, sports, or sports medicine, not only do they leave the school with their high school diploma, they also leave with a certification in that field, and they help them get an internship wherever they may be able to get into. So I think that gave me really like up north vibes. Yeah. It reminded me of schools up there, and it's definitely
vocational school
kind of like some sort of technical. Yeah. It's definitely something to look into. I think that it's kind of like new age. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think it's a good look, and for parents that are interested in offering their kids something more, SLAM on Gun Highway.
SLAM on Gun Highway. Were those the only fields? You said journalism, sports medicine.
Sports medicine. I think there's a few other ones, but those are the ones that stuck out the most to me. Okay. They even have like the fencing thing. Is that what it's called? Mm-hmm. When you wear that little mosquito-looking mask and stuff. Yeah. They have all that stuff. It's like, it's really, really, really good from what I can see.
I'm going to check it out. I'm going to see what it's about. You know what I wish schools would do is I wish they would really teach, I don't know, entrepreneurial endeavors, but we haven't seen that yet. But that's good though.
Listen, if you can leave high school,
do they have archery?
I think so. There's a video online that you can look at to show all the stuff that they have. Yeah. But listen, seriously, I've never come across a school down here that not only offers you the option of getting your high school diploma, but also furthering. Because how many people really go to college right after high school?
So here's the thing. When we went to Lato, shout out to Lato. Mm-hmm. We're in Tampa, Florida, by the way, for those of you wondering. They had the cosmetology classes that you could leave with your cosmetology
certification
license.
Hours.
They also had
daycare.
CNA.
They had the daycare thing, like
I think you could get like a CNA certification.
I don't remember that, but I do remember because people did dress as like scrubs and stuff. Yeah.
So there were a few. So it's like certain schools have them, but they have a very select few areas that you could get that certification at graduation.
Yeah.
So SLAM actually stands for Sports Leadership and Management. So it's a public charter school, 6 through 12 grade. So it prepares them for careers in sports medicine, business, marketing, health, communications, through different
so it's other stuff than just sports. You said health.
Yeah, and the following academies: sports medicine, digital television and sports media production, sports marketing, entertainment, and management. So if you actually, I guess, want to have a career in sports somehow,
or business,
or business, maybe on the ESPN side, in front of the camera or behind the camera, I think this would be perfect for that.
Yeah.
Very good. I'm glad to see new things like this developing in the Tampa Bay area.
Amen to that.
Yeah, yay.
What's up on your end?
Let's talk about some music. So Nas came out with a new album called Nasir, 7 tracks. Not sure if it's executive produced by Kanye, but Kanye seemed to be involved with the production on every single track.
Yeah.
Overall, my opinion is very classic Nas in terms of the bars and the delivery, but it definitely the presence of Kanye is just
Kanye
very
vibes
profound.
all day.
Very apparent.
So it's kind of like
Which
a
I like.
hybrid to me. You know what I mean? Classic Nas with a Kanye twist.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, if you guys haven't heard it, it's that alone should make it sound dope to you.
Yeah.
It's a dope album.
It's cool.
Yeah.
It's a dope. I definitely felt the classic Nas vibe.
I don't think that's
I
ever
felt-
gonna change though.
Yeah, nah. I don't think he's gonna like try to change himself to cater to the young audience.
It's very grown man vibes.
It's very grown man vibes. It's like it's like the Jay-Z's 444
Yes.
or Kanye's Yay. It's just at this point, it's kind of grown man rap. I thought the beats were dope. Of course, Kanye had his hand in every beat. I don't know if he was the biggest producer on every track, but I know he had his hand on every single track. So
Yeah.
I'm guessing, like you said, it was executive produced by him. But
right.
yeah, but it still had like I said, it had the old school vibe, but it blended in with new. I think it was like a hybrid, kind of like it merged both old and new.
Yeah.
But
I think
loved
I
it.
respect that though. I feel like when it comes to rappers of like our generation of back in the day, people we grew up in, I personally like when they kind of stay true to who they are and don't try and switch it up.
Right.
Even though it does have a new vibe, because I mean, Yeezy, you can't expect him to stay. I don't. That's probably one person I could say I never expect to stay the same, because
Right.
even with every album that Kanye delivered, it was always a different feel to me personally.
Yeah, I feel like with Kanye, he's kind of like our rap's Madonna.
Yes.
Like he
Changing
changes
the
with
times.
every single album. It's
Yes.
totally different. So yeah, he's always keeping up with the times too, but also staying true to himself.
Yeah, for sure. So I expected the Nas delivery. I like that there's a grown feel to it. Yeah, I think it's gonna work for him, honestly.
Now, I was listening to this interview with Amanda Seales on The Breakfast Club saying that she's not going to listen to the album now that there's been rumblings from Khalees about him being abusive
God.
towards her. Now, I don't know. I feel like we've discussed this in the past, like, is it possible to separate the music from the personal side of shit?
Yeah.
For me, hell yeah.
For me too.
I don't
like
give
I
a
might
shit.
still be like, damn, you're a fucked up like man.
Partner.
Yeah, like to like your partner, but your music's fire. That's like me saying I'm never gonna listen to Drake again because he doesn't take care of his kid. You're fucked up for not taking care of your kid, if that is true. However, I'm still gonna listen to your shit.
I'm
Yeah.
still listening to Fabulous.
I'm still listening to
Chris
I'm still listening to
Brown.
Fabulous.
Still,
Yeah.
for
I
sure,
don't know.
for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't get the
I just feel like what's going on personally is really none of my business.
Right.
Right. I kind of hate this whole fake protest thing. Like, just because of what somebody does in their personal life, like, you won't listen to their album, whatever. I was like, yo. And on that interview, she was like going bar for bar with old school Nas. I'm like, yo, you want to listen to that Nas album, but come on now.
It's all hype.
I bet she's still listening to it, but ain't telling nobody.
I'm sure too.
So Jay-Z and Beyonce came out with a collab album. Basically, the album's called Everything Is Love by the Carters. They dropped a visual. Now, I didn't get to hear the album because it seems to be exclusive, maybe on Apple Music and Tidal only.
Yeah.
No,
at this
just
time.
Tidal.
Just hype.
Just
Tidal.
Yeah. I can't
And
even
I'm
get
a
it
Spotify.
on Apple Music.
I'm a Spotify listening.
Ape shit though.
Ape shit.
That shit is bananas, all pun intended.
Yo,
It's fire.
the song is fire, but the video said so much. Like, you could watch it several times and probably take away
Catch up
something different
for
with
sure.
with every view. But wow, I was really impressed with it.
You know what's so crazy to me though? I feel like they're the perfect match for each other, because his level of artistry combined with her level of artistry, and then them doing a combo together is mind-blowing to me.
I definitely got Watch the Throne vibes. It seems like a continuation of Watch the Throne, just that one song and that one music video. It looks like it was maybe like a bonus. It could be easily a bonus track to Watch the Throne
Either
album.
Watch the Throne or Magna Carta.
Yeah,
I could see Magna
yeah.
Carta.
Like
Yeah.
I Jay, he like whenever I see like Jay in his latest thing or whatever or records, he always has that like I'm going to the art museum vibe. Like he always any music video.
He loves
and
art
he's-
museums.
He loves art museums.
And
like
it's
that's
so,
his thing.
It's so crazy because I can see that too. Like I feel like they're very like artsy, and I can get that vibe from him as far as like art museum, how you're saying. And it seems to me as if at some point like their roles reversed, and when she gets on the lyrics and she's like on the visuals, bro, she's so gully to me. Like her movements, she's just so gangsta with shit that I'm just like, yo. And then in the background you see Jay and he's like mad chill.
It was basically the reverse of what was that song where the one where they were like didn't confirm their relationship yet, but it broke out into I got the hottest chick in the game wearing my chain.
Dangerously in Love? No, not Dangerously in Love.
Oh, you're talking about on the Black Album?
Yeah, well, I just feel like that era they were coming out with Dangerously in Love, Bonnie and Clyde.
I can't
all
even
that
remember
shit.
the name of the song, and it's gonna drive me insane.
But
But
I
yes,
feel
I know
like
what you're talking
in
about.
that and when all those music videos and songs were coming out, it was like Jay music featuring Beyonce, but now it seems like Beyonce music featuring
I
Jay.
definitely felt that on the
Yes.
on Ape Shit. It was I do want to listen to the album, and for our listeners, anybody that got like a Tidal account, let me have your login info. Let me borrow that. I don't feel like stealing it myself because I'm an Apple Music subscriber, but slide in Sierra Room podcasts in the DM on that password on Tidal. But anyway,
I doubt anybody's gonna do that. But
you
it's
never
worth a
know.
shot.
You never know. But yeah, I want to hear the whole album. But yeah, from Ape Shit, I felt the same. I feel like it's a Beyonce track and just Jay-Z's on it. I even felt that vibe on the music video. I felt like this
that's what
wasn't
I'm
even a
saying.
collab album. It's just featuring
She
Jay-Z.
be Matt Gully on
Jay-Z
it.
just standing there. He's not even
But you know
doing
what
anything.
though? Maybe that's his way of being like, listen, I cheated on you. You take the role, baby. I got you.
Yo,
I'm
it's
gonna
like
play
he's-
background all day.
Word.
He's like, we got Drew Lemonade. Now you're the boss.
You're in charge. You're in
the
charge.
boss.
I ain't mad at it, but I have something to touch on that before we move along.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you've seen the latest social media post that her and Jay have had, where she's kind of like a little bit more risque than she would be normally. They're laying in bed together. She's wearing a thong. There's another one where she's like in front of a pool or a beach or something, and she's taking off her shirt. And it's a back shot. You can see her ass or whatever. Now, what is the difference between Kim Kardashian naked versus Beyonce being naked? Because technically we give Kim Kardashian a really hard time about her doing all of this extra shit, even though she does it more often than I would say Beyonce does. But where is it okay? Because they both have kids. They're both moms. They're both,
Yeah.
Okay.
So what's different?
The difference is, which by the way, women embracing and showcasing their sexuality is okay with me. But
Definitely.
the difference in terms of the criticism is that they feel that that's the only talent that Kim has is showing off her body, whereas Beyonce is obviously talented in all these other areas. And then on top of that, she's being a little naked. It's not like her whole career is built off being naked and then she sings a little.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
That makes absolute sense. Actually, I never even really paid attention to it because I'm like, damn,
can
I
see
wonder.
that.
It's because they say Kim has no talent.
But then,
Right,
but
so
then think
that's-
about it
yeah.
this way. So it's like, okay, cool. B obviously is talented, so we're gonna probably excuse her a little bit more than we would Kim K or someone of Kim
Look.
K's stature. But then, if this is Kim K's only talent and she's making money off of that, then
Look,
Do her.
my thing is that if you have a problem with Kim Kardashian being naked simply because she's naked, but you don't have a problem with Beyonce, at the end of the day, you're just being a hypocrite.
right.
Now,
That's what
if
I'm
you're
saying.
criticizing Kim, like, oh my gosh, how many times do I have to see this bitch naked? It's like every time shit dries up, she gets naked again. But then you see Beyonce naked, and you're like, oh yeah, we don't really get to see this side of her that much, and that's cool. Like, I get it because it's like Kim does it more often. That's the
Right.
basis of her fame.
I feel like even with Beyonce, the way that she does it or has been as of late, I don't know why I get the feeling of it being more tasteful.
Maybe because she's involving her husband.
Maybe, or
And she's
because
not
it
doing
doesn't
for other
happen so often.
The context
or
in which it's
a
done.
more of a, to me, I get more of an artsy vibe, like even with just the woman art body type
So
deal.
it's not a selfie of her being topless.
Right.
It's like, oh, look at my tits. It's like, oh, you're capturing a moment of time of me being vulnerable and naked with my husband. You're capturing a moment in time.
Right.
Yeah.
I can see that.
So you're saying more like Beyonce's Playboy, Kim is Penthouse.
I wouldn't know what the like
be the
is
difference.
Penthouse more like
All right,
ratchy?
my dudes can probably they can relate to that, or they can understand
Raunchy.
that.
One's more classy.
Playboy's
one's
more
slutty.
classy, tasteful.
Yes.
Penthouse is just laying it all out, just
Yes.
showing it.
Yeah.
Curtains are open.
Yeah. Here's my thing about that. Well, first off, I'll say with Beyonce and Jay-Z, I don't know about you, but I felt like seeing Jay-Z in that, he just looked uncomfortable. He's like, oh man, all right, I'll pose for the picture. Like he just looked uncomfortable. It didn't seem right. It didn't look right.
And listen, at this point, he's doing whatever Beyonce tells him.
Yeah,
to do.
he's doing whatever. And plus, I think on a recent IG post, I think Vibe posted it comparing Kim and Beyonce, and I was kind of reading the comments, and one of the comments, I think I was like, yo, she's got a good point. She's like, the lady was like, one of the difference between Beyonce and Kim, and why Kim's is kind of, they're like, Kim owns that whole sexiness or bearing it all out. Like, it seems like Beyonce was just doing it. And I'm like, damn, that's a good point. I'd have to like dig it up, but I could see how that makes sense to me. Kim is more, I guess it's still, both of them are artsy. I know Kim has a huge influence from Kanye telling her probably how to pose and all that stuff.
That's a really good point because I was going to bring that up.
Yeah, I mean, I do think Beyonce's they both look awesome. They both look great. But like I said, what was my thing is that why all of a sudden did y'all decide to take those pictures? Like, was it because of like, oh, we gotta like? It felt like you don't got to do what Kim's doing. Are y'all doing that because y'all want to do it, or y'all doing it to like match?
I don't get that vibe because if you think about it, I feel like this has been ever since there's a real talk. There's something that happens to you as a female when you have children.
Okay.
Where like I don't know if you just get more in tune with like your body and like what it's capable of and all of these things, because if you notice after Beyonce had North, like her music became more provocative. She got
Blue.
Blue.
Oh, Beyonce had Blue.
Beyonce didn't have North. Beyonce had Blue. Yeah. So after she
North
had
Blue,
whatever,
jeez, all these freaking
weird names, but
Yeah.
Blue North sounds like a airplane company. Airline.
yeah, for sure. Her music started to get more risque, so I feel like she's been transitioning into this. I don't feel like it's something that just happened. Like even her dancing on her tours and stuff has become a little bit more out there. I mean,
You think ever since she had a kid that started happening?
do. I personally think so. Like it's
Okay.
just she came
That's a
more
good point.
I feel like the Sasha Fierce dynamic when she was starting to do like this strip tease type of thing.
Sasha Fierce was after Blue.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Wow. Okay. I thought it was
Oh,
before.
the Drunken Love was when it started getting
Crazy.
a little kinky and out there.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's cool. I think it's great to see women embracing their sexuality. I can see how kids can be like, "Oh, I'm a woman."
Yeah, like
Shit.
I provided,
grown-ass
I created
woman.
life.
I've completed the cycle of what it
Now,
means
what
to
do
be a
you?
woman.
How do you take like how Jonathan said? You know, it seemed like Jay was a little uncomfortable in those pictures, and then we also stated that Kanye does have a little bit more say over Kim and like how she poses. Do you feel like it's a good or bad look for your man to encourage certain risque photos and things like that?
I mean, here's the thing. Like, I'm not in a position to even think about posing nude for any reason because my body is not in tip top. You know what I'm saying?
Listen,
But the point is,
if you were in their shoes,
the point is
that example, I guess.
No, I'm not gonna put myself in their shoes. I'm gonna talk about myself.
Okay.
I'm just saying, if one day I get to a point where I'm like, I want to embrace my sexuality and I do want to pose nude, and I ask my husband, like, are you cool with that? I would hope he would support me in that decision. If he decided, like, nah, I'm not feeling that idea, then I'm going to honor and respect his decision. But if he supported me, I think that That would be cool. I mean, I don't have anything against it personally, whether you're married or not married. I
Yeah.
just think that we're talking about the human body and that
Yeah.
it's a beautiful thing, and if you want other
Right.
people to admire it or whatever, like I don't see the issue.
I think
I
it's become like our bodies have become, although I understand in a certain degree, I think it's become over sexualized and people only look at it in a specific way.
I do feel that nudity, whether it's in modeling or diamond commercials or anything like that, there's so many different ways to display it and the message you're trying to send with that
I
art.
agree.
Yeah.
And it's a very thin line, but ultimately, I feel if Jay wasn't comfortable with taking the photos, maybe he shouldn't have taken them. And I think that for me as a consumer, it's awkward for me to look at art, quote unquote, where the person involved is seemingly uncomfortable. It's like, don't give it to me unless you're fully committed to the concept or the idea, because
Yeah.
authenticity is something that we all can tend to appreciate in the moment that we identify that someone may not be authentic.
Oh, this is
Then
all
we
assumptions
are
as this.
like,
Well,
yeah.
maybe this is just his face, and
Yeah.
he's just like, whatever. You know, this is all
I
an
don't know.
assumption on our part, so we don't know for sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
overall, I think it's cool, like, I definitely think both their relationships are different, and that for me, I really try not to put myself in a position to compare the two, because I do view them both as, like, as women so different, and then their relationships with their partners seem so different too. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird, man. I don't know. Yeah, let's talk about TV. Netflix. We were talking about this documentary called Staircase. I finally finished it.
Yeah. What'd you think?
You finished it, right?
I did. I cried.
Yo, I feel like this dude should have been found not guilty on the first trial. So
Yep.
basically, something that revealed itself. We talked about this a little bit last week. Michael Peterson was arrested, found guilty on murdering his wife, who apparently fell down the stairs, but the DA was trying to convict him for murder. But the facts never added up. You know what I mean? And I feel that to convict someone of being guilty, you can't have any doubt at all.
And there was plenty
Right.
of doubts.
And there was just so much doubt with all of the evidence that was being presented at the time. Like, so much doubt.
right.
Right.
So they came back with the guilty verdict, and you're like, yo, what the fuck, right?
Yeah.
So then it took him the longest time to have a successful appeal. I think they tried 8 times for an appeal.
Well, his lawyer
and
had
each
told
time
him.
it didn't work.
Yeah. Well, his lawyer had told him, listen, a year tops. We're gonna work for an appeal for you. You're gonna be in there probably about a year, which they had discussed and he was prepared for. Next thing you know, when they did the sentencing, the trial, finding him guilty, and then they do the second clip to that, the follow up. It's 8 years later, and he still has not had a retrial because
Well,
every
they've
appeal,
attempted- they've
right,
attempted
every appeal had been denied.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they filed for that appeal right away. I mean, from the moment that they announced the guilty verdict. So, like, fast forward, right? 8 years later, this motherfucker been in prison and shit, And basically, it came out that this dude that was responsible for running the DNA test with the SBI labs or whatever,
One of the prime investigators,
he was found not...
fraudulent.
He was a fraud. Like, he wasn't conducting full lab tests on the DNA like he should have.
Right.
And then he was only releasing certain elements of the testing to the courts instead of giving everyone the full picture.
Right.
But he was speaking as though he had the full picture. So what happened was, this issue in terms of this particular agent with SBI Labs, this information came about in another case totally separate from Peterson, and the guy was able to get out of prison, this, that, and the third. So then the Peterson's attorneys are like, well, if this SBI Labs motherfucker was being fraudulent with this other dude's case, he probably was being fraudulent with ours.
Right.
They started digging, finding out all this shady ass shit. Needless to say, all this other shit was coming out. Like,
They
the
found
cops-
videos of him doing the actual testing, and even in the testing that he was doing, it was only very limited to where he knew it would work in their advantage. Like, he wouldn't
Exactly.
put there was a knife testing they did, and instead of putting blood all over the knife and wiping it on their shirt, because that's what they thought that a stain on the guy on Peterson's shirt was, he only put blood on the outside rim of the knife and then wiped it because he knew that it would make the same exact print that it was on.
It was as
on
though
Peterson's.
their ultimate goal was like, let's make him look guilty,
Right.
not
Yeah.
like let's test the data and
Which
shit.
is so fucked up.
So he filed an appeal 8 years later. Shit's kind of moving along. And basically, it came out that, okay, first of all, in the first trial, one of the things that they were trying to prove was that he used like a poker for like a fireplace.
Blow
That
poke.
was the blow poke
Yeah.
was the weapon, right?
Yeah.
And that it was mysteriously missing. Well, it later came out that it was in the garage, right? They found it in the garage. And then it later on came out during the appeal
Yeah.
that two of the detectives or people who were like on the crime scene collecting evidence, that they actually found the blow
Took
poke,
pictures with
took
it
pictures with it,
Yeah,
and
took
placed
pictures
it
with
back
it.
in the garage.
and
Yeah.
then they were on the stand for the original trial, like going along with the whole narrative that, oh, it's mysteriously missing. Like, how the fuck is it mysteriously
When you
missing
just
when
took
you
a
motherfuckers
picture.
had
Y'all
it?
niggas
Yes.
had that picture. man.
And so basically when he goes to try to do the appeal and they're talking about how they're going to approach it, like, are you going to try to go not guilty? Are you going to take a plea deal? Are you going to do guilty? Like, what's the deal? So the attorneys are like trying to locate the evidence so they can try to work on getting this stuff retested and shit. And then found out that all of the evidence was basically tainted and ripped open and
Yeah.
compromised, that they couldn't even retest all of this DNA shit, even if there was a retrial. So they were trying to get the whole shit dismissed,
Yeah.
but they wouldn't allow it to happen. They turned that request down. And then
He ended up taking a plea, which is called an Alford plea.
an
Alford
Alford
plea,
plea,
yeah.
basically
And it's
saying,
basically
I'm tired.
Right. Basically saying, listen, I'm tired. I'm going to plead guilty even though I'm not guilty. I just want to be able to have this. You know, I don't feel like it's to my benefit that I won't get a fair trial if I didn't get it the first time around.
Right.
It's kind of like no contest type deal.
So what they did was they went with manslaughter instead of murder.
Involuntary manslaughter.
Involuntary manslaughter. And basically the time that he served would have fulfilled the maximum term if found guilty of manslaughter, and he got time served and was set free. But let me tell you, from the moment that he was first let out on bail when his appeal was approved, was it like a year and a half, 2 years
Like
before
2 years.
before they even allowed him to enter the plea deal?
Yeah, 2 years.
Like,
Yeah.
that's
And during
fucking
that time
crazy.
frame, within the 2 years, his original attorney, like, he was tired too. He was like, I can't do this. Like, he's like, I'm gonna try and set you up with another attorney that I feel may work better for you. But he's like, I personally can't put myself through a whole nother trial like this again.
Right.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, he was still very present though throughout the whole thing.
Yeah,
they
even
even tried to kind of like flip it on him in the second time around, when they were like, oh, he touched the evidence too with no gloves, etc.,
Right.
etc. And I'm just like, you guys are really reaching. The whole time, that's all I kept thinking. Like, you guys are so reaching.
Beginning to end, this whole process took 15 years. I'm sure it cost a lot of taxpayers' money trying to prove this man guilty. Like, personally, I don't think he's guilty. I mean, I don't have
I don't think he's
enough to
guilty
think
either.
he's guilty. I am very careful to say whether or not he's innocent. But based off what I'm seeing, like, I, as a juror, under zero circumstance would I feel comfortable saying, oh, he's guilty.
Now, there was
Yeah.
a theory, correct, that we had stated. One of the theories was that supposedly there was an owl in the house.
Yeah, I saw the headline. I didn't get to read the whole story, but that apparently there may have been an owl in the house. And my imagination is thinking, you know, like, I used to live in these apartments back in the day, and there used to be a lot of bats in the area that I lived in. And one time there was a bat inside of our apartment, and trying to get that motherfucker out was like, I know how frantic you can
Yeah, it's
become when there's
scary.
like something flying in your house.
And then think
Right.
about it. They finished 2 bottles of wine together that night.
So if she's on the stairs
on
and
a
there's an
spiral
owl in the house,
staircase.
she's probably like legit falling and trying to fight off the owl situation. Who
Right.
knows? Who knows, man? Only the Lord knows. But my thing is, like, you talking about somebody's life when you're a juror, and it's like, if you don't have enough like condemning evidence or not compelling evidence to convict someone. I feel like I wish there was like one OG ass juror that would have just kept putting no guilty.
Now, the
like,
judge
no
did
matter
even
what.
state at the end of the documentary that he himself thought that a lot of the evidence that was presented the first time around was very prejudicial,
Yes.
and it should have not been included in the trial.
So, for example, they brought up the fact that his former wife, no, his neighbor
Mm-hmm.
in Germany back in the day was found at the bottom of the staircase, and they were trying to compare
Which should have never been
both
entered.
of those instances to each other, and that shouldn't have been allowed. It did
His
put him in a
sexuality
very
shouldn't have
comprising
been.
situation.
Yeah.
Discussing his sexuality did put him in a very compromising spot, and the judge basically says that looking back in hindsight, that he does understand how spending all the time talking about that stuff really put him at a disadvantage in terms of the perception of the jury. So I'm glad he admitted it, but it's kind of bittersweet because it's like, you get it now. Well, I wish you would have got it then.
Yeah, I think
Right.
that it kind of like puts a damper to me as far as like the trust that we have in the justice system, because this happens way too often. And at the end of the day, like, this is 15 years. 15 years
Totally
of
depleted
someone's
him of
life.
his finances.
Totally depleted him of his finances. He didn't get to fully enjoy the process of his grandchildren. I mean, his kids, all of these things. Like, he ended up going. They were pretty wealthy when it was obvious that he was pretty wealthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got
And
money.
then towards the end of the documentary, he's staying with his kids. Like, it's a really, really, really sad situation.
Yeah, and it's probably was like this already, but I have no faith in the justice system.
Oh,
like
for
seeing this
sure.
documentary, I do agree with the not guilty. I do have a little bit of, I don't know if he's completely innocent. I feel like he's innocent, but I definitely know he's not guilty. I felt like with the first thing, as far when they did guilty, I was, at the end of the day, it's supposed to be beyond a reasonable doubt. And it wasn't. It wasn't clear cut. It wasn't cookie cut, clear cut where he was guilty. There was things there was unanswered questions. There was things that were surrounding that. And like I said, 8.5 years, man, I just felt legitimately super sorry for that man. Like, he shouldn't have to go through all that.
I think if I was a juror, if there was a situation where I was in a trial like that, and this is the way that I think about it. If I was a juror and I went into a situation where it was similar to this, and I have questions in myself that the courts can't have an answer,
This gonna be a hung jury, honey.
What? I'm gonna say nope, because I'm
The
not
whole
gonna.
time.
I'm not putting someone else's life in my hands like that. If I have a question, if you can't make sense of my question or answer it,
You have to be 100% convinced.
I'm gonna be like, no.
To be able
I
to
will
say
be
guilty.
that. I don't care if we're there weeks and people are looking at me like, bitch, I'm trying to go home. I'm gonna be like, no. I wouldn't be able to sleep with myself knowing that I have put someone behind bars that I'm not sure it belongs there. No, my answer is no.
And the
No.
thing is that with the jurors, I think that the trial took 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
These people have, they cannot be in contact with the outside world at all
They're
during
not
the
supposed
trial.
to watch the media.
And then what did they do? They deliberated for 5 days.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes people get so tired and delusional that they be making decisions with like not even being in their normal state of mind.
Right.
Yeah, or get swayed by other jurors of why it
Yeah,
is.
and they don't think for themselves,
Yeah.
man. Like we was talking about last week. People don't be
Mhm.
thinking for themselves,
Word
man.
up.
Yeah.
Yo, even though we just gave y'all a bunch of spoilers, check it out, Staircase. It is long and drawn out. I really wish that it would have been less episodes, but
Yeah.
overall it was
I
good.
do wish it was.
good.
Yeah, I know. Like last week, I think I was like, I like it being long, 13 episodes. It really did drawn out. I think I fell asleep a couple times.
I feel like
wish
towards
it was
I feel like
short.
towards the end it started to drag.
Yeah.
Like I feel like, okay, you could have kept that all in one episode. Like you didn't
Yeah.
have to keep cutting it out like that. Like, but
Like,
I mean,
Evil Genius was a perfect 4 episodes, and it was
Yeah.
done with 13 episodes. Yeah, I think they could have edited and kept it all
I
shorter.
mean, we got to take into consideration this was a long time, 15
Yeah.
years that they were filming this. So
Yeah.
True.
you know,
And I hope Michael Peterson and his family, now that it's on Netflix and it's an exclusive
some
documentary,
money.
that they get some money from that.
I do too.
You know, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Before we move on, anything else on pop culture for either of you?
There's a lot of Netflix original documentaries and movies and series that I've been watching this weekend because I've just been binging. There's a Walt Disney one. I saw that today.
About the Walt Disney.
About the Walt Disney. This thing was a bum. Like, eating out of a garbage can.
Yeah, I don't think he popped until he was like of a
Older.
particularly mature age.
Yeah, like he was going through it, fam.
Mm-hmm.
And he just did not want to give up on his dream. But that one was pretty good. It was more movie based, like it had that feel to
I'll
it.
check it out.
But it was good. I liked it. There's
Yeah.
a lot. People should actually look into a lot of the Netflix originals, in my opinion.
Okay.
Yo, Netflix just keep coming out with dope content.
Yeah, for
straight
sure.
up. And what I was gonna say too is like, and I told Rome this. I was like, yo, I do think with the staircase they should have shortened it. But you know what I did like that was actually like a lot of episodes but it was like more TV episodic was the American Crime. I think it was O.J. Simpson.
Oh yeah,
That it wasn't a documentary. It was more like acting.
Yeah,
That was entertaining. I don't know. I liked that it was long episodes, but
Cuba did an amazing job playing OJ.
Well, the star was Johnny Cochran. He was the star of the whole thing. I think he did an awesome job of that.
I mean, like acting, as far as like the mannerisms that we know OJ has, I feel like Cuba nailed it.
Think so?
I think so. You don't think so?
I think he did an all right
don't
job.
think so?
I think it was more so
I'm not a
Johnny
Cuba fan.
Johnny Coch. Yeah, she don't like for whatever reason. I don't know. She doesn't like Cuba Gooding.
Or Terrence Howard.
But yeah, these
But
are
what
her
is your
her
reasoning?
biases that she has against these dudes. But I think Johnny Cochran, we'll get to that. I think Johnny Cochran, I forget the dude's name. He's married to Angela Bassett. He was the star of the show. He killed Johnny Cochran.
He won so many awards for that, and he's won awards for like other shit he's played in. He was in Roxanne Shante.
Preacher's Wife. Or something
he was
like
in like a bunch of shit. Like
I was really weirded out that they put the Kardashians in the movie.
I think
it's relevant though.
Yeah, but still, it
seemed like it was
the
a little
kids?
extra. It
Yeah.
seemed extra. Like we're Kardashians.
You didn't really
we're
see
Kardashians.
Chris like that, but you saw the kids.
I think it made sense.
I think
it makes
adding
sense.
I think adding like Kris Jenner was normal. When they add the Kardashians, I think that was like they wanted to kind of like it's 2018. The Kardashians are famous that they just wanted to let's reference them and like they were the shit back then too, or they were part of this back then too.
Here's my thought. My thought is that
They wanted to get a young audience, I should say.
I feel like they had to make it relevant. Like, meaning that, yeah, they're playing on the fact that people love the Kardashians, whatever. But the thing is that, think about the current age group that are hyped up about Kardashians. Let's say they're in their 20s. A lot of them don't know shit about the OJ trial.
That's why they did it.
Yeah. And they don't know that Rob Kardashian was the attorney that represented OJ and that whole dynamic. So I think like it kind of gave like the stupid person or the inexperienced person or the young person be like, oh, so the guy that's OJ's attorney is the Kardashians' dad. Like I think that, I think they were pretty subtle about it.
I thought it was cool to do it.
Subtle.
I didn't disagree with it. I do think that, like I said, that they just added it even more so to like. My only thing about the whole Kardashian aspect of that was that they were like, the one corny part was like, we're Kardashians. Like they didn't talk like that. It was weird. But anyway,
like they knew they were going to be what they are today. Like, not enough foresight.
They couldn't call that.
Yeah. So I wanted to dive a little bit into relationships.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to specifically talk about friendships. And what inspired this conversation is, my friend Rook, our friend Rook, was on the show last week. And listen, I feel like we really owe this to the listeners that rock with us. I know it's a lot of y'all out there that cannot deal with Rook shit. I know it's a lot of y'all out there. He knows I'm going to talk about him.
I told him?
Hell yeah.
Okay.
I know some of y'all that be listening to him like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? Where is this guy from? And here's the thing. I'm not here to defend him and anything he says. He's a grown-ass man. He could do that himself. But what I can say is that I'm in a stage in my life, and I've been in this stage for a long time, where I can be friends with someone and completely disagree with some of their views.
For
And
sure.
the thing with Rook is that our relationship was never based on political views, social views, anything like that. We became friends because of music. We used to make music together.
Right.
And there's a lot of shit that he says that I'd be like, whoa, that's inflammatory. Whoa, that's crazy. But here's the thing from my perspective, and I know some of y'all be wanting me to fight this motherfucker on air, and y'all be wanting me to contest shit he says. But the truth of the matter is this. If I'm not knowledgeable enough about something and I just don't feel comfortable having that argument because I don't know enough, I'm not going to do it, you know? So for any of you out there who, may have gotten upset about some of the shit he said and maybe wondering why I didn't argue more with him, it's because I'm dumb as fuck when it comes to politics and when it comes to certain things. And me knowing the way he argues, he likes to discuss quote unquote facts. And it's like, if I don't have them, like, I ain't even fucking, I'm not engaging on a certain level. So,
and I think it's important too, though, even with whether it's a friendship or not a friendship, even if it's a complete stranger, when you're having a quote unquote debate, I think it's important that you keep your feelings out of those type of debates, because what happens is people start to get emotional. They start to then bring up things that has no type of relevance to the topic at hand. Yeah. And I think that's probably like, sometime, for example, I seen a post on Facebook by someone that we went to school with, and it said something along the lines of, women need to realize that child support is for an absent father and not a failed relationship. And I literally was like, I felt some type of way. So I was just like, I'm just going to state what I know. And child support doesn't have to be because the father is completely absent. Sometimes if the father isn't around on a daily basis, the way that a mother is, they can't financially be supportive the way that they would be if they were around 24/7. Therefore, you don't have to be completely absent from your child's life in order to pay child support. And that was my point in case when I commented, and they were going back and forth the whole time with me about it. And I was like, clearly you guys are feeling some type of way. So we're going to agree to disagree, because they basically were saying it's not beneficial to the child. If that's the case, then let them live with their father. And I was like, sometimes living with the father is not necessarily beneficial. So child support, whether or not you see it as me being upset about a failed relationship, and that's why you need to get your facts together, because that's not always the case. Some women do handle situations like that. I'm not saying that, but that's not the case all the time, and we need to stop generalizing people that way.
Yeah. I mean, the child support conversation is a whole nother thing, man.
I think debates are healthy. I think they're cool. I think having two point of views and sometimes even more is great, because you may learn something that you didn't necessarily know to begin with.
Right.
One of the things I love about what Rook does is that it does challenge me, that if I do want to have a healthy debate or a very engaging conversation with him, it's like I feel challenged that I need to step my research up and I need to become more knowledgeable in certain areas so we can have thorough conversations about these things. So it's a great benefit for me.
Yeah, and you're open-minded enough to know that, I may learn something. You may end up changing your mind from how you normally view it.
Or
you
never
know.
Successfully prove him wrong. Either way, they're both very satisfying.
Exactly. So my point is, leave the emotion out of debates. Like, listen, learn something, be open-minded, and let it be that.
I'm very glad to know that I am in a space in life where I have a lot of friends that, first of all, I consider family. Rook being one of them.
Right.
This friendship ain't going nowhere.
Right.
It ain't going. He's like a brother to me.
Right.
But the thing is that I feel so blessed to have friends that I consider family. Him being one of them. And when I look at all those relationships, I disagree with so many of my friends on certain outlooks on certain things, but I don't let that get between like the love that I have for that person and the friend, because at the end of the day, what you eat don't make me shit.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Like, as long as we have an understanding, we have a mutual respect for one another, like the shit can work out. And, I'm very proud to know that I'm in a place where I can properly manage those relationships and still find good in those relationships and not allow simple debates and differences to get me all emotionally fucked up.
And ultimately, you shouldn't make friends with people because you look at the same thing the same exact way. It should be like how you treat me as a person, like, how we connect on normal friendship shit besides the views that we have on things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
how did
have
we
a-
connect in the first place?
Yeah.
If I got a flat tire on the side of the road and I call you and I'm like, yo, like, can you help me? And it's like,
Duh, I'm
right
there.
I'm there. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Like, there's so many elements of friendships and having a difference of opinion. Here's the thing. Like, racism is a very difficult thing to overlook, right? So there's some people that I've considered acquaintances that I've found out that they're low-key racist that I've definitely taken a step back from.
Mm-hmm.
If there was someone
Yeah.
in my inner circle that I found out all of a sudden I found out that they were racist, I would check them on that hard as fuck, and then I would let
Right.
them decide if they still want to keep it up with the racist shit or not. And if they keep it up with the racist shit, then I'm like, I don't know if I could be your friend. No. The thing with Rook, did some of the stuff he say was sexist? I don't know. I don't feel that he's a sexist person. I do see how some of the things he said would piss certain women off. He does have an interesting view, but I don't think he's sexist. But even if he were, would that make me not want to be his friend?
I
No,
think
because
70
it's like, nigga, in my head, I'm like, nigga, you are wrong.
I think 70% of the shit that he says, whether it's related to race, sexism, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
politics, 70% of it, I really feel like it's him trolling, him trying to push buttons, him trying to go against the grain. I think that is the majority of where he's leaning towards.
I don't think he has bad intentions
Yeah,
at all.
I don't think his intentions are, negative.
He's just a scientist savant.
He's a scientist savant.
Yeah, and some, I guess, discussions we're having too, like, the good thing was that he was also listening to other people's point of view. He wasn't just saying,
Yeah.
he wasn't tunnel vision where it's like, it's either my way or no way. He's like, what are the facts? One example I can think of was maybe like the whole marriage and divorce thing. Like he was all for staying together, and we came up with some points on why it's okay to move on and have a divorce, things like that, because we're talking from a place of we were going through it now. Like, we're actually married. We're talking about that, and also seeing other relationships and things like that. So that's what my thing is. At least with friends, like I said, like, what brought y'all together in the first place? You can always be friends if, like I said, if on both ends y'all can agree to disagree. Y'all can have that healthy debate where it's not getting personal, where y'all not attacking each other personally, and y'all can actually listen to each other to see each other's point of view. And that's what he was doing.
Agreed.
Yeah. So, for those of you who are wondering what the fuck that was about or how it is that I can be friends with him,
Listen to the last episode.
it's because he's the homie, man.
Yeah.
He's the homie.
You're not going to agree with everything your homie says.
Yeah, he's the homie, yo. Anyway, what you got, Co?
I got one last thing.
Yeah.
I have a question for you.
Yeah,
Wait, do you have
yeah.
more pop culture stuff?
No, we closing it out.
All right, I have a question for you that we haven't talked about. Quite some time ago, you had stated that you had put some money into the Bitcoin situation.
Yes.
How's that going, fam?
Whoa. So first of all, I looked at my Bitcoin wallet today. It's not looking good, but
Really?
I'm not sweating it. I mean, the thing is that there's a lot of these Litecoins and all these other smaller coins that you can purchase with Bitcoin. And if I wanted to diversify my portfolio,
You could.
I could. So Bitcoin could be doing it back while all these smaller and Litecoins and all that could be doing well. But I personally don't have the time and energy to really deal with that shit right now.
Yeah.
Ultimately, the money that I have in Bitcoin, I plan to leave it there. And then I want to reevaluate the situation in December and see what I want to do with that coin, because it could easily spike again, depending. But as of right now, it's not trending well at all. I mean, Bitcoin was over $9,000 between I want to say like between 8,700 and 9,500 the few times that I bought Bitcoin in March, and currently it's like 6,000 something.
Wow, that's
Per coin.
significantly lower.
It's
Yeah.
a huge difference. So I don't know. The money I put into it, I already put myself in a position that I don't invest anything I'm not willing to lose. So
Right.
even if I lose my money, it's
You're not
not
too
going to affect me.
concerned. Yeah.
It's not
I
gonna
don't know
affect
why
me.
I thought about that. Well, actually, I do know. I had looked at my 401k,
Mhm.
and you know how that also can fluctuate depending
Yes.
on. My shit is doing good, girl.
Yeah. So here's what happened. The market in terms of stocks, suffered a major impact a few months ago. I do remember it vividly because my investment advisor was getting calls like back to back, and he was so stressed, dude. Like the market took a huge hit. So I think right now it's rebounding from that, and it's trending pretty well. So
Yeah. So I was like, when I seen that, I was like, oh shit, this shit is doing good. And then I thought about that, and I was like, oh, I wonder how Rome's Bitcoin's doing.
yeah, so I had a client actually stop by my office on Friday, and she's planning on being self-employed, but she's like, I'm really got to start thinking about my future, and I don't have 401k at my job. So we talked about a few different IRA options. You have a money market IRA, Roth IRAs, and then you have CD IRAs.
I don't like CD IRAs.
You have traditional IRAs, all these different independent IRAs you can have just at the bank. And we were discussing based on her circumstance how the Roth IRA may make the best sense, but I do still want her to sit with my investment advisor to discuss all of our options, because let me tell you, not only within each product type are there differences and advantages or disadvantages depending on your situation, but there's different types of investment portfolios. So for example, as you get older, you can have a portfolio where you basically tell your brokers that invest my shit in stocks that aren't as risky, that are, the price of the stock it may gradually like increase over a long period of time. And then sometimes they'll put you in portfolios if you're a lot younger, like if you're in your 20s, they might put you in more aggressive type stocks because they're like, either way, nigga, you ain't gonna retire until you're probably in your 60s, so you might as well put in an aggressive stock, see what happens, and as you get older become more conservative with your investment options. So I'm at an age where I feel like I could do risky shit like buy Bitcoin and stuff like that, not have it not be a big deal. But at the end of the day, I think for people who are planning for the future, whether it's 401k or independent investments, the fact that you're thinking about your future and trying to find ways to grow your money is a really good look.
Yeah,
for sure.
At least doing that.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, the thing with Bitcoin itself, that's been going down, hasn't been coming up. And the thing is this, Bitcoin isn't the only cryptocurrency out there. There's tons of other cryptocurrencies that are actually looking good, that are coming up, that are, going. I remember seeing I don't know if you've, with Vlad TV, he has the IG that's Vlad Stocks. He stays shitting on Bitcoin. He can't stay.
He does.
He can't stay in Bitcoin and only stocks. But that ain't the only cryptocurrency out there. So if you a cryptocurrency head, you know that.
Now you do have to buy Bitcoin to buy these other coins.
You do have to. Yeah, you have to do that. But that ain't the only investment. And
so it's to your advantage that Bitcoin's actually down now, because then if you're buying these other light
you get
coins,
more for your money.
Yeah, you'll get more for your money. So either way, it could be viewed as a good thing as well. But to your point, the buck shouldn't stop at Bitcoin. Basically, this is really tapping into the foreign exchange market. Bitcoin is officially part of foreign exchange. And I think that it's important for people to understand inflation and the dynamics between different types of currency, and really find ways to basically flip in your money.
And taking a chance in the process.
You have to really know and understand what's happening in the financial currency world, and how political things can impact the trends of currency and all these different things. But it's like, for me, I ain't got the time or the energy to figure that shit out.
People are making money through Forex. People are making money through cryptocurrency. I mean, if you are into just stocks too, I mean, there's other apps that I actually use, which I like too, like Stash, Robinhood, Acorn, Stockpile, things like that. They're really. There's even I think with Stash is more of like a laid back, whereas it just takes from your bank account, every purchase you make, it just takes the loose change from it, and just puts it in different investments. And you can also do the the micro investing, where you can invest in multiple different companies, things like that. There's so many resources, but
I like that trading is taking a more easier approach, just getting an app.
I agree.
Just being user friendly,
Yeah.
Because when I was much younger, I remember when I was in an economics class, when I was like 17, 18. And at that time I was like, I want to get into stocks. And I started looking at Yahoo stocks and really started learning about them. But I was like, well, how the fuck do I get started? Do I have to reach out to a stockbroker, or do I have to be part of a brokerage, or like, it always seems so complicated. But now with these apps,
It's so user friendly to get
they
into
make them
it.
so user friendly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Buy and sell stock. I just think most importantly, before anyone jumps into any of this shit, make sure that you're very well aware of tax implications with your trading.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because like no matter if you flipping shit, like if
Taxes
you taking
are still
payouts,
taxes.
taxes are taxes,
Yep.
bro. But if you keep it all within the brokerage, you're trading within the brokerage, and you don't actually take a money payout, I don't think that it counts as income.
Or you can take a money payout, if I'm not mistaken, and have them deduct what the taxes would be off of it.
You can.
Yeah.
You can basically not defer your taxes, but you can say take
Take the top
20%
off. Yeah.
take 20% of this, pay it to taxes, and then what will happen is there'll be a record of where you paid those taxes up front, and then around tax return time they'll like assess whether or not you paid enough taxes on that
Exactly.
income. So
Yeah.
that's usually an option.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So other than that, what we talking about? Are we done?
That's all I got, fam.
I think
Listen,
that's it.
we're keeping this episode short to spare you guys because I know last week, two very long episodes from us. I want to thank you all for your support and tuning in.
Yeah,
And shoot us some notes if you have any thoughts, comments, concerns.
One thing,
ideas,
if I definitely had ideas. I kind of wanted to challenge our listeners. If you have specific topics that come around your group of friends and you want to hear us discuss, or anything that you want to hear Zio and Rome's point of view on, definitely DM us and let us know, and we will definitely touch on those.
Word. All right, you guys, enjoy your week, and we'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Hey.
See ya.